Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode here on Home Farm. So as you can see today I'm pelletizing the straw. So we're basically taking the straw bales, putting them on the table shoves them into the chopper chops them up, and then they come out the side there into the overloader. So I've got the Fiegel overloader, which will give you a quick run through of what we're using. So we're using the, as I say, the Fiegel overloader. It's the same one as the one that I was using with the potatoes. The only difference is that I actually own this one now, and it's obviously tipping into that trailer. It takes a while to fill that trailer. It's got a slightly bigger capacity. We have also got, as you see, the pelletizer, our brand new JCB Loadall, which we bought earlier in the year. We took a loan out for that, and we bought that earlier in the year. We've obviously got our John Deere 8345R on the pelletizer, and our 6250R on the Fiegel. I don't think the Flegel, or whatever, however you pronounce that, actually requires a tractor to unload, but we've got one on it anyway just in case. So yeah, and then on the front of the teleporter we're using the it's essentially a modified bag lifter, so it has straps, and that's able then to lift the bales. The only reason I'm sort of using this with that is because I did find that I was using the bale tines as you should do, and it turns out that pelletizer table doesn't like tines or spikes. So we had to switch over to this, and to be fair, since I've switched over to this, which was basically a shot in the dark, but I thought it was worth a try, it's been working pretty flawlessly since. So a slight compromise, but if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. So I'd like to say thank you, a massive thank you really, to everyone that watched the last Home Farm video with the 2 sugar beet harvesters. We were harvesting somewhere over there in that direction. It's not very often that I put 2 harvesters in the field at the same time, but I thought that would make a sort of pleasant change to the single harvester, and it taking us a week to harvest, so I decided that we would do 2. Looking back now, I think 2 was just about right for that field. Yes, by the time you joined me on my daily vlogs, I had done the headland, or we had done the headland, and we was already into the middle of the field, and I'd already started the heat. Now today we have also got a special guest working for us. We are currently loading our sugar beet over the hedge. So we have as I say, we have a special guest driving operating, shall I say, the Roper Euromass. I am just going to need to turn on my hood for this bit because I can't see where to stop Trevor. Excellent, and then we'll do him as well. So we've got 2 lorries carting sugar beet to the sell point, although obviously it's not my sugar beet, so they're not carting it to the sell point for me to make money on. They're carting it for the contractor that we harvested this sugar beet for. So driving the Roper today, we've got 2 contract or we've got a contract lorry firm in to cart the sugar beet for us. But actually operating the Roper Euromouse is, as I say, a very special guest. He's someone that's appeared in the videos a couple of times already, and I thought, well, seeing as I can't really stop him, that wasn't very tidy, was it? Seeing as I can't really stop him from appearing, he may as well come and work for me. So at some point, we will be joining the singing farmer as he sits in his Roper Euromouse and lifts the sugar beet for us. So that will be at some point today, and I'm sure you all can't wait. I know I can. It's the only problem with this, the engines all turn themselves off, so it stops. But we will endeavour to get a couple of more bales on the belt and get them going, and then, as I say, I will then bid you farewell, and you will go over to join the singing farmer on his vlog. As I say, he is now a worker here at Homeworld that we've taken on, mainly because he's appeared a couple of times and I can't stop him. So if you can't stop them, join them. That's what I say. Now, some of you that have watched the Green Hills Estate videos will know that he's only appeared in those videos. And there's a reason for that. And the reason was simple, that he was only going to appear on Green Hills. However, Green Hills Estate has not been all that widely watched, and I think part of the reason is that because I've started the game from absolutely nothing. So we literally had, I think, 2 tractors, a mower, a trailer, a baler, and a rower, a windrower. But otherwise we had nothing. We had a farm and we started with 2 fields as well, but we had no money. So basically we had absolutely no money in the bank whatsoever. And as I say, we've sort of started that from scratch. That's great, and I've been enjoying it because, as I've said to you many times before, it's not a game sort of mode play that I tend to do. I tend to start with old equipment, and I tend to start with no money, but I do also tend to start with a farm, a predefined farm, and the game starts from there. And I usually start with no money, no equipment. I've inherited a farm, and I have to do contracts to start building money. That map doesn't have contracts, unfortunately, which, well, it does. It has it on the 2 other fields on the other farm, because there's 2 sort of concrete pads on that map, and it has the contracts on there, but the contracts, because they're tiny fields, are about £1,000. So by the time you've hired, you're probably the equipment to do it, or borrowed the equipment from the farmer to do it, you're looking at between sort of £500 to £600, I would say. So it's not really worth doing it. And subsequently, what's happened is that I'm finding that that Let's Play quite slow moving forward. So what I thought we'd do is we would do another Let's Play in conjunction with Green Hills. So once a week we will have a Green Hills episode. A couple of times a week we will have a Homeworld episode. And this is the big announcement, so there should be fanfares, but there isn't. See? I've still got that sore throat, by the way. I've had it about a week now. Yeah, so the big announcement is I'm going to be doing a new Let's Play. As of at the moment, I don't know what map I'm going to be doing the Let's Play on. However, I do know the game mode that I'm going to be doing. I've just got to choose a map that is suitable to the game mode that I want. So, we're still going to be starting with old equipment. We're still going to be starting with next to no money. We will be starting with some animals, so we'll have some cows and we'll have some sheep, so that leaves us to buy the pigs and the horses thereafter. But the difference to this save game is I am going to base it solely on the toy tractors that I have owned from starting collecting my Britain's collection in 1984, I think it was, 85, somewhere around there. So I was probably about 4 to 5 years of age. At the age of 5, most kids would have been starting or would have already have started primary school. Sadly, because of a very debilitating and serious heart condition that I had when I was born, and then at the age of 4 I had a massive stroke which paralysed me on my left side, took away my ability to talk, and took away quite a lot of other things as well. It meant that at the age of 5, I was just starting to go through rehabilitation. Thankfully, my speech has obviously come back, although some people would say that's not a blessing or something to be thankful for, because I don't tend to shut up now. And my movement in my left side has come back. I'm able to walk, I'm able to sort of operate. The only thing it's left me with is I have no coordination with, or I have very little coordination with the left side of my body. So yes, I can walk and I can run, and I can't run now because of my heart condition's got worse, but otherwise I could run. So I could do sort of kind of all the normal things. Riding a bike was very difficult because I have no coordination on the left side, which means I have very little balance on the left side, which means I do fall over a lot. And it meant that riding a bike, I always fell off to the left. I can now ride a bike because I've basically taught myself to lean to the right, which counteracts the falling off from the left. But it does look a bit odd, and as I say, with my heart conditioning slowly getting worse, I tend not to ride a bike anymore. So in 1985, rehabilitation, one Christmas, or the Christmas of 85, sorry, I got my first Britain's model from my uncle Stephen, who worked for A.H. Worth's in Holby Churn. He started there when he left school, and he worked there until the day that he died in 2005 of motor neurons disease. But he bought me my first model, my first tractor, and I loved it, and it was amazing, and I played with it and played with it and played with it and played with it. I still have that tractor today. At the age of 5, it didn't get broken, so I still have that tractor today. But it started off a thing where all of my relatives, because my mum and my dad had obviously told everyone how much I loved that tractor and what have you, that people started buying me for my birthday and Christmases and things, started buying me Britain's toys, and then a little bit later on, more towards the 90s, they started buying me Siku and Ertl toys as well, but it started off with Britain's toys. So what I intend to do is, because by the age of sort of 6, 7, I had the farmyard, I had the sheds. A lot of the sheds were custom made by either my dad or my uncle or whatever, but by the age of sort of 6, 7, I had a complete farm layout. And so my intention with the save game is that the farm, although as of yet I haven't been able to find a farm that feels a bit like my toy farm, I have been able to find, as near as damn it, every single model tractor, the model combine that I had, the tractors that I had. I've got very close to the trailers that I had, the plows. Basically, as I say, all of the models that I had when I was, sort of between 5 and 9 from Britain's, because as I say, it was exclusively Britain's up until, I can't remember if it was the very late 80s or the early 90s when Siku sort of started to, or I became aware of them and I started having their models and collecting their toys as well, and the same with Ertl. So yeah, that's my plan. The big announcement is that James is going to be doing a Britain's farm, and it's probably going to be called something along the lines of the Carpet Farmer series, because that was how people that collect these toys are referred to. I've been to many big shows that is solely these tractor shows. I'd love to go to the one in Holland, because I haven't been there yet, but one day that will be achieved. I go to the Springfield one twice a year. They have it in April, the first Sunday in April and the first Sunday in October. So I go there twice a year every year. Usually spend way too much money, but there's no harm in that. There's a cost of living crisis going on, but not when my tractors are concerned. There isn't. That's kind of the sort of attitude that I've taken. I think this is going to go wrong because that one's come off. So the first bale in all of those bales, all the way down to there, and this is going to be the first one that's gone wrong. But never mind. The table might be able to sort it out. I don't know. But anyway, we'll drop this next bale on and see what happens. So yeah, that's the plan. Got a couple of farms in mind, Ballyspring being one, just because it's got quite a model created sort of model villagey area sort of feel to it. It looks like it could be a miniature world. It's a very nice map, it's a very pretty map. I have sort of dabbled with a little bit of a save game for myself on there, although I have now, I had, because I started recording videos, I had to stop that because I just literally didn't have enough time in the day. The other big thing with the models, with the model farm that I'm going to be doing, is I have a video editor now. That means that I will be able to produce proper videos, hopefully, and be able to make much better quality. I don't necessarily think the videos that I've been making have been terrible, but it would be nice to sort of do some nice, not nice because they are nice videos, but some nicely edited videos where I'm literally playing for half an hour and then having to stop the recording and literally upload that video and have to run through the whole video perfectly, and it's quite stressful because I'm really having to watch myself. So over the next few days, maybe a few weeks, I will be familiarising myself with the. No, that really has gone wrong and not going to work, hasn't it? With the video editor, and then I will, as I say, we'll be starting the Britain's Farm. So it's either going to be called like the Carpet Farmer series or Britain's Farm or whatever. And I'm really looking forward to doing that, actually, because I'm really chuffed that through a heck of a lot of hard work I've managed to find all of the models and things from the sort of mid 80s onwards, and then as the years go by on the farm and we get like into the 2000s and we get into then obviously modern day, present day, so the tractors can and will change accordingly. There is one model that one modded tractor that I'm starting with that wasn't a model in the mid 80s. However, it was a tractor that I drove as a small boy in the mid to late 90s. I used to drive the tractor quite a lot. My mum worked. All of my family, apart from my dad, have been sort of farm involved. Have all worked in farm, including my mum and my nan and my granddad and my uncle Steve and what have you. And Mum and Nan used to work on this farm, and my Nan was the combine driver on the farm, and my mum was tractor driver / labourer on the farm, which in those days was pretty much unheard of and very unusual. But as I say, my mum worked there, my nan worked there, my granddad worked there, my uncle Dick worked there, my uncle George worked there. And that was pretty much their labour force. Then mid-90s they decided to trim the workforce. They had 2 farms and 2 separate lots of workers, and what they decided to do was to make the 2 farms one business and go with 2 tractor drivers and get rid of everyone else. So unfortunately that meant that my granddad was made redundant, my nan was moved to housekeeper, my mum was made redundant, my uncle Dick was made redundant, my uncle George did stay, but he went to the garden. So my nan was housekeeper, my uncle George moved to gardener, my granddad and I say my uncle Dick got made redundant along with mum, and that was what happened. And then in the mid 2000s, in 2007, on Monday, August 13th, I started work on that farm, and that was my first job, my first full-time proper job on the farm. But in the summers of the mid-90s, they used to grow bulbs and they used to grow potatoes. Now potatoes was done via, and so with the bulbs, it was done in exactly the same way by what is called a hoover, and essentially what this is what we determine from where I'm from is called a hoover. So this is basically pulled along, obviously behind the tractor. Usually it was a David Brown back in the day, and the bulbs or the potatoes would go up there and then fall down at the back, and then the likes of my mum and seasonal staff would be behind, and they would be picking into baskets, and then they would take the baskets to the end of the field where there would be 2 tractors, or I think it was about 4 tractors waiting, and then they would tip the potatoes or the bulbs into, well, the bulbs actually would go in boxes, but the potatoes would go into trailers, and then my mum and whoever else, they would have their own tractor, and so when it was full they would then take it to the yard, they would empty it, bring it back, and then start picking again. And they had 2 hoovers, and what used to happen was this is all according to my mum and my nan. I have no experience of seeing this apart from the bulbs. As I say, in the mid-90s, that was how they did the bulbs. But anyway, long story short, you'll be pleased to know I'm going to have a Fordson Major because it was the first ever tractor that I ever drove. But that really isn't going to work. Although it's slowly getting there. But yeah, so thank you ever so much for watching the video. That might work actually, you know. It's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you. I've been very excited to make my announcement of we're going to be starting a new save game of Britain's Farms, of all the models, as I say, that I had in the mid 80s and 90s and then up into the 2000s. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to starting that. I'm looking forward to getting to grips with my new video editor, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks very much, and I'm going to hand you over now to the Singing Farmer, who is, as I said before, special guesting for today. Hello everybody, you join me here on this roper thing. I don't know what it is, and I don't know really what it does apart from it lifts these sugar beets up. But hopefully James has told you that I'm going to be working on the farm now. I'm going to be working here at Homewold and making this my home. Back where I'm from, down there in old Norfolk, I was called the coward of the county. But hopefully here I'm going to be a big strong hit with you guys, and you're all going to love me. Coward of the county. That reminds me of a song, that does. Let's have a sing-song, shall we? Everyone considered him the coward of the county. He never stood one single time to prove the county wrong. His mother named him Tommy, the folks just called him Yellow. But something always told me they were reading Tommy wrong. He was only 10 years old when his daddy died in prison, and I looked after Tommy 'cause he was my brother's son. I still recall the final words my brother said to Tommy: "Son, my life is over and yours has just begun. So promise me, son, not to do the things I've done. Walk away from trouble if you can. It won't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. And son, I hope you're old enough to understand. You don't have to fight to be a man. There's someone for everyone, and Tommy's love was Becky. In her arms he didn't have to prove he was a man. One day while he was working, the Gatlin boys came calling, and they took turns at Becky, and there was 3 of them. Tommy opened up the door, saw his Becky crying. The torn dress, the shattered look, was more than he could stand. He reached above the fireplace, took down his daddy's picture. As his tears fell on his daddy's face, he heard these words again: "Promise me, son, not to do the things I've done. Walk away from trouble if you can. It won't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. And son, I hope you're old enough to understand. You don't have to fight to be a man." The Gatlin boys just laughed at him when he walked into the barroom. One of them got up and met him halfway across the floor. When Tommy turned around, they said, "Hey, look, old Yellow's leaving." But you could have heard a pin drop when Tommy stopped and locked the door. 20 years of crawling was bottled up inside him. He wasn't holding nothing back, he let 'em have it all. When Tommy left the barroom, not a Gatlin boy was standing. He said, "This one's for Becky," as he watched the last one fall. And I heard him say, "Promise me, son, not to do the things I've done. Walk away from trouble if you can. It won't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. And son, I hope you're old enough to understand. Sometimes you gotta fight when you're a man." Everyone considered him the coward of the county. Well, there you go, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to sign off for now because I need a cup of tea and I need to lay down. And I've also got some more song lyrics to learn. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. From me, the Singing Farmer. Ta-ta now, bye-bye.